Welcome back to the Ben Smith Coaches Show here on BCHS.TV. I'm your host, Gary Ownbey. And Coach Smith is with us today to talk about the season recap of what went on for the Bears this year in our wrestling program. And Ben, last time we talked, you guys were getting ready for the traditional state tournament over in Franklin. Things didn't go how we hoped it would. But, hey, still a good season. Obviously, the program is still in a very elite status. And you just look forward to next year and move on, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, what I've learned in 25, 30 years of being around this program, and then 17 years of being a coach of it is, here at Bradley, anything other than a state championship is usually, frowned upon. We went from a strong third at the duels to, a region championship last weekend, which, that's not what we're after, but it does feel good. But coming into another chance at a state tournament, state championship, we were hoping, especially after a pretty strong region showing, to get in that top two bracket and maybe have a shot at winning a state title. And, just to recap it, Thursday night, it's a 3-day tournament, and, you got to win 5 on the front side and 7 on the back side to be a state champ or to finish in the top 6. And, we lost a couple matches on Thursday night that we really probably shouldn't have. There were some that we should have lost, but there were a couple that we shouldn't have. And that's wrestling.
Right.
That's why you wrestle the match. That's why you have the dual meet. Anything can happen, and that's why we compete in athletics. But after Thursday night, we had kind of an uphill climb, so to speak. But we finished third in the duels. We finished fourth in the traditional. That's about probably where we should have been based on how we performed. Blackman caught us on Thursday morning, which is who we beat for third at the state duels. But they wrestled really, really well. I mean, you can't take anything away from them. Wilson Central performed very strongly, and then obviously Cleveland wrestled lights out. I mean, they rebounded from a strong region to have an even strong state tournament, and they finished state champions.
Well, do you think beating them in the region tournament gave them incentive to come back and be stronger? Well, I mean, I know we knew they're going to be good anyway, but
yeah,
they badly used to have an incentive there to do better. But now that the season is over, you've got a lot of kids in your wrestling program. What would be your off-season routine with the kids and yourself, and also with? I know you got a young daughter, Dottie, who's growing like a weed.
Yes, right.
Take care of it. And try to help the wife get a little sleep.
That's right.
Too.
That's right.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that.
So what will you be doing, and what will the returning players going to be doing? We'll talk about the incoming a little bit later.
So, we were back in the weight room yesterday. I've shifted gears.
Like that, huh?
Yeah. We got back at 3 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning. We took Sunday off, obviously, and then, we were back in the weight room yesterday. I had kids back for 6 a.m. run and lift this morning.
Wow.
I personally am coaching track for the first time this year, so we've had a couple kids transition over from wrestling to track.
Okay.
So I'm working with the distance runners and just kind of, just helping out, just kind of trying to be a positive, force in the track community with Coach Frazier. And so, we've got kids doing both. We got some kids shifting back over into spring football mode. But we'll be meeting with our guys on Thursday. We've got a big kind of a all-star duel that we always go to the second weekend of spring break called King of the Hill Duels. We've got kids that are prepping for NHSCA Nationals, which will be at the end of March. And then after that, we'll shift into our international styles, freestyle and Greco-Roman. We'll run pretty heavy April and May. And then in June, I'll bring in Jordan Lean from Pittsburgh. He'll do a national champ training camp for us, and then we'll do our summer duels. But, starting kind of on a routine next week, we'll be in the weight room and on the mats 3 days a week. We'll have early morning opportunities starting next week. And, it doesn't really end for us.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's just a year-round thing.
It is. Like what we're really trying to do this year is I feel like maybe we have pushed too hard sometimes in the off season the past couple years, and so we're trying to find a balance You know, I mean, we want to peak at the right time. We want our kids to be ready at the right time. And wrestling is such a hard sport. And just, I mean, anything you do 10 or 12 months around the year, and between the ages of 14 and 19, there's a chance of getting burnt out. There's a chance of doing too much. And so Coach Blackman and I and Coach Anglin are really having some serious discussion on what our off-season looks like. You know, I mean, the kids that want to compete, I feel like we need to give them the opportunity to compete. But the kids that need to rest, and by rest, I mean, let's just grow to the next weight class. Or, you know, with our depth, you know, that we have, we've got some kids that need to maintain a weight class. So, you know, trying to figure out, like, how do we get Bryson Terrell the matches that he needs? How do we get Ethan Lipsey the match that he needs? But also, how do we get Luke Belcher up to the right weight class? So, you know, our off-season is a fine blend of weight maintenance, weight gain, mat time, and then just staying around the program. And then, you know, we've got guys like Austin McClure who plays football. Like, he needs a break. Like, heavyweights don't usually wrestle year-round, you know. He needs a break from the sport of wrestling. So we're kind of just, hey, man.
Go play football.
Go play football.
Yeah.
Go fish.
Yeah.
Hang out with your girlfriend. Not too much, you know. But we'll see you again in June, you know, type thing.
Well, talk about the weight gain. These are young kids, some as early as 14, 15 years old, 16, 17, 18 on up there. Do you sit down to coach and say, I think this kid's going to jump a weight class or 2 weight class, or we anticipated with? These guys are going to be growing. They're still in the growth mode, with no question about that, for several more years. Like. So do you sort of line up what you think you'll have next year, that we need this, like Belcher?
Yep.
We think he's going to jump up a weight class or 2, and this other so-and-so's going to be up there. And do you think, well, he's probably going to not gain any weight anymore?
Yeah.
There's a lot of planning goes into that people don't really think about. We just go up and watch the weight class here at the school and think, okay, it's pretty simple. You know, you weigh him, you weigh this, you're going to wrestle this class. You weigh this, you're going to be wrestling that class. But there's a lot of foresight and the planning goes into that.
Yeah, the kind of our saying is, you know, if you're descending to a weight class, like we had 206 pounders this year that backed up Ethan Wilson, who just was a state runner-up. Both of my backup 106s beat state-ranked kids in varsity competitions this year. So, you know, all right, we lose Ethan Wilson. He's graduating. Had a great season. So Ethan's gone. All right, so of those two, which two, you know, and they're smaller. One of them's an average size 106, and the other one is kind of a bigger 106. Which one's going to stay at 106? All right, Bryson, what are your intentions? Ethan, what are your intentions? And if Bryson says, I want to maintain 106 pounds, then we'll try to not let him get over 115 pounds. But he'll still have to try to compete at 113, 106 where he can. And most of these off-season tournaments have weight allowances. But then like Ethan Lipsey, he's an average size 106 pounder, but he wants to go 113 next year. We need to get him up to probably 125. You know, if they're walking around 10 to 15 pounds over their projected weight class, and it's not flab, it's a solid, so like if we want to put 5 or 6 or 7 pounds of muscle on Ethan Lipsey, that's going to take 3 to 6 months of like doing it the right way. Not with supplements, not with just, you know, creatine and protein, like legitimate, healthy, doing it the right way. And like for Bryson, like if he's going to stay at 106, you know, he needs to maintain now. Like his mom is small, his dad's kind of tall and skinny. Like he's got the frame. Like he kind of looks a little bit more like his mom as far as his height goes. And I can say that because I'm a short guy, you know. But if Bryson's going to stay at 106, which we think he will, then we need to, those conversations have to happen now. And two, there's national tournament opportunities. There's national team for Tennessee opportunities where people are going to want Bryson Terrell at 106, which is great for us because if he's going to compete at 106 next year, let's keep him there now.
You can't just wait till next year when school starts and say, man, I wish we'd held him.
If Bryson shows up at 125 in August, he's not going to make the weight. He's not going to make it right. You know, and if Ethan Lipsey shows up at 110 and says, hey, I'm going to go 113, he probably can do just fine there, but he needs to have that horsepower. So we started having these conversations back in January because there's only 9 or 10 weeks of the season left in January. But once the tournament ended Saturday and we were waiting on the finals, me and the coaches had a lot of – because we're pretty deep from 106 up to 160. We've got a lot of room for movement in there. So we were already kind of planning out, all right, when we have our meeting on Thursday, this Thursday, and we start lining up the offseason – What is Chase Stansberry going to stay at 145, or is he going to try to go to 160? Is Caleb Jeffers coming down from 170 to 152? So those conversations, even though we just ended, they have to start now. And so, a lot of planning, yeah.
Well, as you move along in the school year, and jumping ahead now to next fall when school opens, I know before then you've got all these kids programs around the area here that are really, really great feeder programs, and what makes all of our local schools as strong as they are.
Yeah.
At what point will you have those young guys coming from 8th grade into the 9th grade programs come to try out, or how does that take place? I'm just curious.
So you got to be careful.
How does that work?
The TSSAA does not recognize feeder schools in Tennessee. So Cleveland Middle, even though it's Cleveland Middle, is not necessarily Cleveland High's feeder. Lake Forest is not even though it's recognized in our community, it's not our feeder. Like 8th graders are 8th graders, and incoming freshmen are incoming freshmen. So because Lake Forest is recognized by our district as our feeder, I can't have a contact as far as middle schoolers working out with my high schoolers until the day after school lets out, which I think is May 26th or whatever. So, but basically we would start the day after Memorial Day. Yeah. So the 28th and 29th, we're going to a tournament in Pigeon Forge of May. Those 8th graders that have enrolled at Bradley Central High School, whether it be from Ocoee Middle, Cleveland Middle, or from Lake Forest, once I figure out what middle schoolers are coming my way, then once school is officially out, then we can have I can coach those kids. Now, between now and then, we're running our club program, which is wrestling 2 or 3 nights a week. Their middle school club and region is this weekend, and then there'll be a state tournament coming up. We just kind of stay hands off with those. You have to, legally, you have to. There's ways around the rule, but that's just the club. Like in wrestling, it's the club system. Our club coaches, our middle school coaches coach our club 2 or 3 nights a week and in our room. And, if they've got a club membership, which if they have their AAU or USA wrestling card for Pride Wrestling Club, then they can come and wrestle in our building under our club coaches. Now, I don't personally I'm a club coach too, but just because there's so much gray area here, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I don't want to get ourselves in trouble. I stay away from rising freshmen and rising 8th graders until the day after school lets out. Okay. And that's just the right way to do things. And here's the thing, Luke Belcher didn't need me coaching him back in March because he's going to have me for 4 years. These rising freshmen that we have, we got a couple pretty good kids coming from the Lake Forest, they don't need me coaching them right now. Now, in the summer, we'll start getting to know each other. We'll start building that relationship. They'll start figuring out kind of how we operate. If you start introducing that too soon, now introduce our system, yes. Introduce our curriculum, yes. Introduce our drills, yes. But introducing us too soon, because it's a shift. Ryan Ensminger does a great job, but we run at another level here. Right. You start doing that too soon, kids might just go, I
don't need this.
This guy's crazy. I don't need any of that.
Well, it's like any time you move from middle school to high school or high school to college to pro, people don't realize the difference that there is in the level and the way things happen, the strength, and because in the kids club programs that you may be facing kids that are lesser skilled or whatever, but when you get into the high school level, especially elite programs like we have around here, boy, everybody's good. The best of the best is wrestling this here. But well, it's been a good year for you. Not what you wanted, I know. As you say, you never accept anything less than state championship as a satisfactory year. Right. And we've got 26 of those, I guess, team totals.
Yeah, we got 26 state titles. I really thought that we would have 27. And again, I'm very optimistic, and I try to lead by example, and a lot of people didn't think we'd win that region title. I thought that we could, and we did. And the state tournament is such a fickle environment that if one or two, the difference between us getting second and us getting fourth were 2 matches on Friday night and Luke Belcher not placing. We're talking 2 matches out of hundreds that we wrestled. But again, let's just put it in perspective. Blackman finished 3rd. kudos to them. Ronnie Bray and those guys do a great job. They had an upper class. Their upper weights were upperclassmen. Their lower weights were lowerclassmen. They've got a lot coming back, but they do lose a lot. But like they finished third for the first time ever. That was like their state championship. Like a lot of teams would love to be where we are in our rebuild years, in our off years. And it's not that we were off. We had a daggum good year. Yeah. But the problem is you're following the act of 26 state titles and another almost 24 runner-ups.
Spoiled, don't you?
I think our culture is spoiled. With what Cleveland's doing, with what Walker Valley's doing, with what Nashville's doing, with what like Dobbins Bennett finished 5th. Like the Tri-Cities area is blowing up. Memphis has good. Like wrestling in the South and in Tennessee is we're not the only kids club anymore. We're not the only people that have good middle school coaching. We're not the only people that have a good high school staff now. Like wrestling is getting better, and it's harder for us to do. And Cleveland's doing a great job right now. They'll probably win some more state titles, as will we probably. But it's a matter of time. If we don't keep doing what we're doing, these other areas are going to catch us. So to continue to have these dynasties that Cleveland and us have, so to speak, like it's going to take even more work and even more time because these other areas are pushing us. Blackman getting third, I love them. Great job. But I left last year's state tournament kind of ready to take a break. Like, whew, man, that was rough.
Yeah.
Whereas like this year, I left feeling not even close to being satisfied.
Yeah.
I thought we'd have 10 medalists. We had 6.
Yeah.
I thought we'd have a champ or 2. We had none. I thought we'd have 5 or 6 returning medalists. We have 3. Like, I felt like we underachieved, and that's motivating. Whereas, like, last year, I felt like we underachieved, and it was like, man, I felt like we got kicked in the shin. So we're not going anywhere.
Right. Oh, I know you're out there.
We have a good young group. We'll be back. I'm not really good, but I know how to work hard, and my coaches and I know how to suffer. We know how to be resilient. We know how to push through things. We're just going to figure out how to get our guys ready in the chest and in the head as much as we are physically. And I think we got to fix a few things or just kind of retool, I guess is an industry term. But we're not going anywhere. Everybody's thought we've been going Bradley's going down the tubes. They've said that since Coach Logson left. And,
well, we'll find out.
We're still here,
That's right.
So.
We're not going anywhere,
No, I don't
Coach,
think
as
so.
always, we always appreciate you coming on our program here this morning. And,
Thank you.
Wish you the best of luck in the off-season. Take care of those kids and get them where they need to be, weight class, health-wise, mentally, and in their heart, and so forth and so on. And I know you'll do that. Your staff got a great staff. It's a lot there. Until later on, we'll say so long now to Ben, and we'll say God bless and go Bears.